What if I told you all you need to make your own wraps is oats? Hi, I'm Val from Very Vegan Val, and today we're going to be making one ingredient oat wraps. These wraps are strong and flexible. You can just crumple them up and they won't break. Plus, they're not only vegan, they're gluten-free. So if you're craving a wrap and you don't have a tortilla or a pita laying around, we've got you covered. These oat wraps can be made in just about half an hour, and they're made with ingredients that you probably already have hidden away in your pantry. Let's get started. Okay, so you're gonna need a little bit more than just oats. You will need oats, but also some salt and some water. Additionally, you're either gonna need a very good nonstick pan or a little bit of oil to cook your wraps. Tools-wise, you're also gonna wanna have a blender or a food processor. For this batch, I'm using 1 cup of oats, 1 1/4 cups of water, and about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're gonna start off by combining our oats, water, and salt in our blender and just letting it sit for 5 minutes before we blend. Once the oats have absorbed a little bit of water and softened, we'll give it a good blend. Next, we're gonna heat up our skillet. I like using a cast iron skillet because I think it gives a good, nice and even distribution of heat, which is what we want for this recipe. Finding the perfect temperature to cook these wraps might take a little bit of trial and error. We're looking for a medium-low heat to get these wraps cooked thoroughly. I find that on my stove with this pan, the best heat is around 3.5 mark. Let your pan get all the way heated up before you put any batter on it. So my wraps don't stick, I'm just gonna brush the smallest amount of oil on the surface of my skillet. Next, I'm gonna pour in the batter. I use 1/2 cup for each wrap, and this recipe makes enough for 3 wraps. Pour the batter into the center of the skillet, and then you can use the bottom of a spoon to gently spread it out a little bit. You don't wanna move it too much because you'll risk getting holes. And you do have to do this pretty quickly because the moment you put your batter on the pan, it starts to set. Next is what for me is the hardest part. These wraps need a whole 5 minutes on each side to cook all the way through. And what makes this really challenging for me personally is when I look at them, I think I should start flipping them around the 2 or 3 minute mark. I'm convinced that that is 5 minutes every time. It doesn't matter how many times I do this. I look at it, it's been 2 minutes, I think it's been 5 minutes. So the only way I found to reliably cook these all the way through is to set a timer. It's been 5 minutes, so I'm gonna use a spatula to go around the wrap and make sure it's loose at all points before flipping. Now that it can move around freely in the pan, I'll give it a flip and set another 5-minute timer. I've got my wraps cooked. If your wraps end up feeling just a little bit crispy, you probably need to lower the temperature on your pan a little bit. On the inverse side, if they end up being a little bit raw feeling on the inside, you need to raise that temperature just a little bit. And small changes can make a big difference here, so work through it gradually. The beauty of these wraps though is as long as you get kind of close to the mark, it'll work out okay. Just stick them in a pile, let them cool down, and the ones that are slightly undercooked will steam to be the proper consistency, and the ones that are slightly overcooked will soften up and become a better wrap. These may take a couple batches to get perfect, but don't be frustrated. Easy oat wraps are achievable for your future. This is the most basic version of this recipe, but you can add all sorts of spices to it to give it your own flavor, or even some steamed spinach to make a green wrap, or some roasted garlic. Delicious. Play around with it and have fun. The beauty of making things homemade is you're not limited to what somebody else thought up. Now that my wraps are done, I'm gonna make some lunch. Some chopped cabbage, because that's what I have. Grated carrots, garlic scapes, some sliced baby tomatoes, and homemade tofu egg salad. I've used these wraps for all sorts of things. I've used them sort of like naan to soak up an Indian curry. I've also used them almost like a crepe with a sweet and creamy filling inside. Another great option is to put some cheese in and melt it and make yourself an oat quesadilla. She's beautiful. Enough chat, I have to eat this wrap. Thanks for watching, friends. Let me know in the comments what your favorite way to eat these wraps are, or some of your favorite variations on this recipe. And if you're so inclined, you could give this video a like and subscribe so we see you next time. Bye!